Hello guys, welcome to another video in Aerofly FS2 in the HP Reverb. Now we are currently sat ready to take off at Rotterdam Airport in a very plush business jet today. We are in the iconic Learjet, as I'll just show you here from the outside. Look at that, gorgeous. I love the colour as well, very nice. And the PBR texture work and the reflections in Aerofly are very nice, and they work. They just work and they're brilliant. We are heading, as I will just show you now, on our navigation page, from Rotterdam in the Netherlands, because we have been exploring this area now for quite a few weeks and I've loved it. But we are heading to a new region. I haven't done this in Aerofly before, actually gone from one region to another. We are heading to Geneva on the border of France and Switzerland. And as you can see here, if you zoom in, the ortho covers it just, as obviously we're on the border there. So I haven't been to Geneva yet, so I'm looking forward to this little flight here. We are going to be cruising at flight level 300, and we have got everything about right. The FMS is dialed in there, we've got our flight plan in, we've got our landing lights on, strobe lights. We're going to put our APU on for this departure, as often is the case with the business jets. We're going to put our seatbelt sign and no smoking signs on. Emergency lights are all sorted. I think we are good to go, guys. So flaps are set, trim is set. Trim is, by the way, electronic, and you can see that on the PFD there. In fact, this aircraft is modelled very well. If you can just have a look at some of these different displays here, there's a lot that is actually modelled. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's better than some of the other aircraft that you'll find in the default version of Aerofly. Anyway, enough of that talking. Let's get on and get going. In fact, we'll go outside to hear this aircraft spool up. Oh yes. Oh, we're getting a warning message there, but I'm going to carry on. I think that's just the emergency parking brake that I haven't set. V1, V2, rotate. Enjoy that beautiful smoothness of Aerofly. Never gets old. And just to say, we've got quite a bit of wind today. It's very gusty. We've got a lot of cloud to punch through. And not only that, we've got a bit of turbulence as well. In fact, you can see already that the airspeed is all over the place, varying by about 10 knots. So we've got quite a bit of weather to contend with here. But that's okay. We're going to bank right and enjoy some of these amazing views of Orbex, Netherlands, as we say goodbye. Absolutely gorgeous. This aircraft is quite a rocket ship actually, and we're already at 6,000 feet. Now at this point we're going to put the autopilot on, if I can remember how to do that. There we go, autopilot on, FLC and nav mode. Now I wonder if FLC actually works on this. I think it might be, but I just need to adjust the speed. There we go. If I adjust the speed to climb at 200 knots. Yes, it is! Well, there you have it, guys. The flight level change system on the Learjet in the Aerofly FS2 default aircraft works a treat. I'll take the external power off now. Okay, just about to head 17,000 feet now, on our way to 30,000 feet. We'll go standard with the pressure soon. Take our landing lights off, something we have forgot to do there. Now, I nearly did this trip in the 737, but the Aerofly version leaves a lot to be desired, so I stumbled across this aircraft, just thought I'd test it out, and I was actually very impressed with the MFD display. There's a lot you can look at, and they say it gives you quite a lot of information, and it's realistic enough to really enjoy. You know, a reasonably realistic flight really in this aircraft, and also I love the visibility in this aircraft. In VR it's a real treat, I tell you. And some of these things, I didn't even know that worked. That's pretty cool. Look at that. That actually does work. So I don't know, I just feel like they've paid a bit more attention to this aircraft, and it's all the better for it. So we're nearly at cruise altitude. I'm not expecting to see any contrails, but you never know. I think IPAX has recently announced that there's some exciting new things coming to Aerofly. So I'm really hopeful that, because some people think that they've kind of abandoned it a bit, but I don't know, I think maybe they're just quietly working on a few really nice updates. Now, if this sim had a bit of AI traffic and a nice, you know, at least a somewhat decent weather engine, it doesn't have to be fully dynamic, although that would be nice, but you know, just to have the options to have rain and maybe a bit of real world weather, that would do this sim so much good. It really would. So if they could just add those features in, I really do think that their core base of fans will appreciate it, and there'll be plenty more new Aerofly FS2 pilots that will come through the doors, I think. And we are now currently in the default scenery area. Now, Aerofly does boast a worldwide mesh and an incredibly low resolution I suppose backdrop really, which is actually fine for these sorts of flights. If you're flying between regions and you're going to be up this high, let's just see what it looks like. Get the right view. Okay, right. Well, it looks crap. I mean, there's absolutely no messing around there. It doesn't look very good. And you can see there, that is the end of the Netherlands region, and we're now entering this area of just mush, really. I do wonder, even if they're able to make that resolution just that bit better, I suppose that would, for the whole world, it would be huge, wouldn't it? But even just focus on areas like Europe, America, Scandinavia, the kind of obvious areas, and just, you know, bump up that resolution a bit would be quite cool. Oh, it feels funny being in Aerofly up this high in a business jet flying to another country. This is kind of where I suppose its limitations are more obvious. You know, I mean, we're not seeing any other airliners out there, we're not hearing any radio chatter. The ground is looking pretty crap even at 30,000 feet, but it's as smooth as anything. I'm probably getting close to 90 frames per second in the reverb, which is a big deal really, to be honest. Just back those. In fact, actually this aircraft does have auto throttle, so maybe we should use it before we overspeed. Speed, right, is that going to It's 295 knots indicated. Is that doing anything? I'm not convinced it is. I'm looking at the throttle to see if it's moving. So I'm no expert in this aircraft, even the Aerofly version. But as long as it gets us there in one piece, I think we've done a good job. Now I am hoping that we're able to use the ILS and approach into Geneva. And it's going to be spectacular, guys, because I remember a few years ago when I did a motorcycle trip, one of my first trips into Europe, and I might stick it on YouTube, and we went to Geneva and we had an incredible journey in a steamboat on Lake Geneva, and it was just, in fact I'll just maybe put a few pictures in here of what that looked like. Oh, it's fantastic. And as you can see here from the pictures, it's right bang close to the runway, so you can see all the heavies and the biz jets coming in, and it's just a spectacular approach, those mountains and that beautiful lake. Oh, it's just fantastic. And I've done this many times in X-Plane. I'm looking forward to seeing what this looks like in Aerofly, because by then we'll be back into a very nice high resolution region. Right, well I can just slowly start to see ahead of us that the ground is starting to rise a bit. I think we will begin our descent soon. And maybe we'll take a look outside as we begin our descent into Geneva. As we're getting close to these clouds in Aerofly are not volumetric, but they are so much better than X-Plane, and when you go through them they do feel very, very nice indeed. So we are currently about 17 minutes away. We're going to be flying onto the runway 23 right, and all is well in the Learjet. So you've probably got enough time to pour yourself a wine and enjoy the views as we get closer to Switzerland. This is just absolutely wonderful. It's so relaxing sitting here watching those puffy clouds go by in the beautiful resolution of the HP Reverb in Aerofly FS2. This is great. This really is fantastic. So as we are getting close to our 10,000 feet, we're going to just make sure that we don't bust our speed here. So we're just going to back off the throttles. I'm really getting excited now, seeing what scenery awaits us as we get further. And just to say, guys, like this entire flight, I haven't had one stutter. I mean, apart from me stuttering when I'm talking, which is not surprising. But in terms of the flight simulator experience in the VR headset I'm using, I have not had one single stutter. Now I'm pretty convinced by the time this video comes out, X-Plane will have at least released the first iteration of Vulcan, and I may have already posted something about it, but I'm really intrigued. I'm not quite as excited about Vulcan as I am the Microsoft Flight Sim, but I'm not far off. I think I'm really intrigued to see what that's going to do for us. I think, being a VR user, I think I'm more excited about Vulcan than other people, because I've never had any issues flying X-Plane with absolute maximum settings in normal 2D mode. Never had a problem with it at all. It performs really well. For me, it's VR where the Vulkan improvements are going to make the most difference, because even if the frame rate stays the same, or if it's a bit better, it's all about the stuttering. That is the thing I'm probably more excited about the most, is just having a smooth flying experience, being able to use all of those cores to really make the most of my hardware. But I won't go on about it too much because I've probably already made a video on it anyway at this point. So let's get back to the flying in Aerofly FS2. We're going to continue descending. We're on our flight plan, looking good. 16 minutes out, 74 miles to go. And we're about to descend through these clouds. They do look good. The clouds look pretty decent. Not as good though as IL2. The clouds in the combat sim is just, I mean they are actually proper volumetric clouds, and as you go through them you can see the vapor and the moisture rather on the canopy, and all the little trickles of rain and water droplets, which is just so nice. And it's great fun playing with the clouds, especially when you've got an enemy fighter aircraft on your 6 as well, and you can use the clouds to real great advantage on that. We'll just zoom in a bit here on this display, see where we're getting on. I didn't get a top of descent. I did get a top of climb, but I didn't see my top of descent. But never mind, we are descending nicely right now. Well, I imagine we'll be on the ground in the next 20 minutes. Alright, we'll put our landing lights on now. We are nicely holding 247 knots, 7,500 feet. Now I think I might just, I've got to be careful actually as well with the terrain around here, because some of this cloud is very low down. We're about to go through a cloud layer now, so I'll just show you guys what this looks like. Bearing in mind I can move my head around, so the 2D sprites will have to move with me, but I think that's pretty damn good actually. I feel like I'm really going through the cloud rather than the 2D sprites. Like it's gone completely almost white now as we're right in the cloud layer. We're getting a bit of turbulence as well, which is a very nice little touch there. Okay, now it's completely white. We're in the cloud. You don't really get that with X-Plane right now. Or Prepared. Or DCS. And then we're out the clouds. So as you can see there guys, can you see what I mean? Even though it's not truly volumetric, the way that they, you know, interact with the plane going through the cloud, and the fact that you can look at the clouds at any angle and they don't sort of have that annoying 2D where it kind of follows you around. It doesn't quite do that, which is good. That almost looks like a contrail there. And the repetition isn't that bad either. Tell you what though, as we're getting closer to the ground, I'm really looking forward to getting back into a nice high-res ortho area now, because this is looking a bit pants. Alright, steady on that airspeed. We'll just get below, just slightly below this cloud base. We're 30 minutes out now, and we'll be intercepting our approach very soon, which means we're not too far away at all. The ground is looking very FS98 now. Pre-autogen. Oh, I remember that You know, when Flight Simulator 2002 came out, that was probably the most excited I've been for a long time, until now really, even when a new Flight Simulator came out, because they did so much to that particular engine. So we're gonna hold here because I don't want to get too low. But that, yeah, it really did wonders for flight simulation when the autogen system came in. And that was also, I think, when we had the new AI traffic and the new air traffic control system. That was fantastic. And then Flight Simulator 2004, A Century of Flight came out, and that was promised to be a fully dynamic weather system, but it wasn't. It wasn't fully dynamic at all. They just had weather themes, and yeah, it was a big disappointment for me. Right, okay guys, I can actually see the start of the ortho layer of the new scenery. Well, I say I do. I think I can. I can see some snow-capped mountains over there, but that might not actually be it yet. So I may be a little bit premature. Okay, our radar altimeter is saying that we're 2,500 feet. And that is going to vary a bit, so I'm being very conscious of the surrounding area, because we have a lot of mountains coming into view soon. This is nice. This is very nice. The thing is, if I ever looked at Aerofly from the standpoint of X-Plane 11 or Prepared or FSX, I would just say it's crap, and it's just, you know, so it's limited in so many ways. But that would be doing it a complete disservice, because it's a refreshing, different, alternative way of enjoying flight simulation. Like, one of my good friends has just got their first VR headset, a Rift S, on my recommendations, by the way, because I absolutely love that headset. And they've just got into Aerofly FS2, and they are absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it. And it's the perfect kind of entry into VR and flight simulation, because if you, in fact, once another friend of mine who bought a excuse me, a Reverb last year, I said to him, yes, you've got to try X-Plane 11. He tried X-Plane 11 and he hated it, and it made him feel sick because he couldn't get the frame rate working. And it's a good point, you know, it was a bit of a learning experience for me, because actually, if you're going to really enjoy flight simulation and you're quite new to it, or if you just don't want the hassle, then I really recommend Aerofly is your first stop. Your first port of call, shall I say. And then from there, you can then start twiddling and messing around and getting some more complex flight sims. Now, I believe over this little ridge here is where we're going to start turning. If you can see there, that is our turning point. In fact, I'll just zoom in a bit here. Whoops. Okay. We certainly don't want to be any lower than this, that's for sure. And here we are, guys. Just like that, we are now in the wonderful Switzerland area. So let's just go outside and show you. Oh dear, sorry, my view system, I need to work on that a bit. There we go. No, that's not it either. I want the one where I can pan around. There we go. Now we are really low now, and look at the ortho scenery is very sharp. I think it's about zoom level 17 at least. Let me get back into the cockpit again. We are really low here. Right, we need to go up a bit more. We don't want this flight to end in disaster. Yeah, we are going to clear, but I just want a bit more room to play with here. Oh, just the smoothness of this sim. I long for the day when we have this smoothness with the kind of level of detail that we can get in X-Plane or even the new FS 2020. Oh, it's good to be back into some proper scenery again. This looks spectacular. Very, very nice. See guys, it wasn't that bad really, was it? To do a bit of a longer flight, a transition flight. And you don't really need the scenery to be incredibly detailed if you're going to be flying at 30,000 feet anyway. In my view anyway. Right. Right, okay, the lake is now visible, so what we'll do is, we've made a bit of a hash of this approach, but never mind. We're now going to descend down to 2,500 feet to intercept the localizer. Okay, we have visual with the runway. It's time to go gear down. Flaps coming down. And you see the speed tape there will show you your limitations for your flap and gear as well, which is nice. We're going to go to approach mode now, and hopefully, with a bit of luck, the aircraft will align itself for us, because Aerofly is able to do that. And it's even telling me there, we're now into VNAV mode and we are doing a Cat 1 approach. That's pretty cool. So for all of, Aerofly's limitations, there are a lot of cool things it does. And look at that view there. Oh my god. That's probably going to look very flat on the screen, but that, to me, those mountains look really big and very, very impressive, and exactly how I remember it when I was here. Okay, well, since we do have visual, we are going to disengage the autopilot, because we don't want the autopilot to have all the fun. We're going to go full flaps, and wow, I'm pleased I did that, because I can really feel the turbulence. We've got a bit of wind here as well. I'm not quite sure why. There's only one runway in Geneva, but for some reason it says 23 right, so I'm not quite sure about that one. Unless there's probably a strip, but I don't know. But I remember on my travels doing the steamboat thing, and we basically went right to almost to the edge of the runway, and the planes that were coming overhead were spectacular. Okay, just a bit of a screenshot here. Sorry guys. You know what I'm like with my screenshots, we're going way too fast at the moment. Too busy admiring the views. God, I love VR so much. And I love Aerofly. It's such a great simulator, it really is. So holding the glide slope here. Doing everything manually. Airport looks spectacular as we're coming in. Oh, this feels so good. 200. All the call outs as well. 100. There we go. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. And touchdown. Lovely. Reverses. Sorry guys, trying to get you a good view. Wow. Screenshot! That looks fantastic. Oh, nice. I love how the spoilers deploy with the reversers. And we are here. So welcome guys to Geneva. And this again is where Aerofly just works. It plain works, because that scenery there that I'm looking at just looks so good. Just the way, it's hard to explain, but the way the objects look, they look really believable and very solid. Oh, wow. Oh yes, I love it. I love it so much. Right, strobes off, lights are coming off. We are flaps are up, trim, we reset that. With APU can come on. Yeah, this is very nice indeed. Very, very nice. And just, you know, the way I can explain it, I think, guys, is I feel like I've just landed at an Orbex airport, say East Midlands or Leeds Bradford. That level of detail, yet I'm not getting any performance problems at all. It remains to be incredibly smooth. And just that feeling of knowing that and feeling that, it makes me grin from ear to ear. It really does. I just love it. There's a Ryanair there, nice business jet. Is that a Falcon 50 or is that a Gulfstream? I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure where we're going. I'm just too busy admiring the views, but we'll go right to the end here. Park near these Dash 8s. There's a few business jets there I can see as well. I've got a feeling the R-22 helicopter is going to be coming out again soon to explore these views. And this beautiful Switzerland scenery. Yeah, we'll keep going and we'll park somewhere over here. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching these little videos of mine. I really do appreciate it. It's amazing. It's just great to share this passion. It's a bit busy over there, so I think we'll park here. And yeah, I shall see you again very soon on the next one. And yeah, take care. See you soon.